Hello, algebra students. So we are going to do board work today. So here's your board work problem. Graph this line. The equation is 2x minus 6y equals negative 12 by two methods. So first, just put it in slope-intercept form and use the slope and the intercept to create the graph. And then the other one, and number one is the way we usually do these. Number two, use that slope-intercept form to complete this table below and plot the ordered pairs. So once you have it in slope-intercept form, you can plug in for x and get y and get those three ordered pairs. And then you can just plot those ordered pairs and graph the line that way. So pause the video, see if you can do this, and then if after you've done it, start the video, or if you give up, watch a little bit of the video to get some hints. Okay, we're back, so let's do this. First we're going to put this in slope-intercept form. I just realized I need to make this a little bit bigger. Give myself some room. Okay, so there's our equation. And we can always use some practice putting this in slope-intercept form, so I'll do that over here. Okay, so we have 2x minus 6y equals negative 12. It's in standard form. Okay, so first we subtract the 2x from both sides. Okay, so on the left we have negative 6y, and on the right we write negative 2x minus 12. Okay, now we divide both sides by negative y. I'm sorry, by negative 6. Which means, of course, dividing every term by negative 6 individually. And we have y equals, now negative 2 over negative 6 is 1/3, right? We're going to simplify that to 1/3. 1/3 x, and then we subtract 12 divided by negative 6. So we're subtracting a negative, right? 12 over negative 6 is negative 2. Could go ahead and write that step. Minus negative 2, and so that's 1/3 x plus 2. So there it is in slope-intercept form. We'll scroll down and graph that. We'll graph that right here. Now, my lines aren't going to be very good. I have a hard time drawing lines with this tablet I'm using. It's a little sloppy, but here we go. So the y-intercept is 2. Gives us 1 point. The slope is 1/3. So the rise is 1, the run is 3. We could write this down. I'm going to move that up a little bit. Rise over run equals 1/3. So we'll go up 1/3. Gets us to there. Okay. I'm gonna make make that a little bit better. That's more like up there. Okay, up 1 over 3 gets us to right there, and there's our line. Okay, so now we're going to use another method. Okay, and the other method is to use this table along with our slope-intercept form. So we put a 0 in for x, then what is y? Well, let's do that over here. Y equals 1/3 x plus 2. So putting in 0 for x, 1/3 0 plus 2 equals 2. Okay, so when x is 0, y is 2. Let's put in 3. And so that is 1 plus 2, which is 3. And then we'll put in 6. Okay, 1/3 times 6 is 2, plus 2 is 4. So we have, when x is 3, we said y is 3. When x is 6, y is 4. Now notice I picked these points, and I did that for you, but it's useful to look at that and say, well, what could I have picked those points myself? The points that you choose make a big difference when you're graphing with this method of just plotting points. You want to be clever, you want to be thoughtful in the points that you choose. So why did I choose those? Well, they give us whole numbers, right? We're going to take 1/3 times x first thing. So if we use 2 for x, then we're taking 1/3 of 2. And that's a fraction. So it's a little harder to graph that. So just be thoughtful and say, oh, you know what? I can use 3 for x, and I'll have a whole number when I take 1/3 times 3, and I'll use 6. And 0 is often a convenient number to use when you're graphing with this method. So we have our 3 points. See if our graph looks the same. Of course, it won't look exactly the same because both graphs are a little bit sloppy. Let's see. I want to actually make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have 0, 2 is about right there. 3, 3, 3. Right there. And then 6, 4. Right there. So of course 2 points is enough, but doing the third point helps you to make sure you haven't made a mistake, because they all should be on the same line, and they are. And there's the line. So 2 methods of graphing. Looks like it's the same. Just for fun, let's use a third method. I didn't put this in the board work, but gee, we'll have a bonus method. And that is find the x and y intercepts. And this is pretty easy method as well, but sometimes you get fractions because you're not really choosing. You're just saying, well, whatever that x-intercept is, even if it's a fraction, I'm going to graph it. So let's see, let's make this pretty. Well, not very pretty, but let's label these. This is plotting points. This one is using y-intercept and slope. And this one is using x and y intercepts. Okay, so let's find those. We can do that right here. Our original equation is right here. So that's 2x minus 6y equals negative 12. So the x-intercept, well, let's see, I've got to keep this out of the way of my line. So I'm going to put it down in this lower quadrant. Scroll up a little bit. The x-intercept can be found by putting in 0 for y, right? You put in 0 for y, that is on the x-axis. When y is 0, we're on the x-axis. We're neither up nor down. So we put that 0 in for y, and then, of course, that's just negative 6 times 0, which is 0. So it's just 2x equals negative 12. Solve for x, negative 6. So the x-intercept is negative 6. Right there. Let's find the y-intercept. That's just putting in 0 for x, right? Because that's where it crosses the y-axis. When x is 0, you're not going left or right. X is 0. You're right on, right on that. Neither to the left nor the right. X is 0. So put in x for 0. It's just 2 times 0. And so that part goes away, and you just have the negative 6y equals negative 12. Divide both sides by negative 6, and you have y equals 2. So this time it worked out great. Both of the x and the y-intercept are whole numbers. Sometimes they're fractions, but you can graph a fraction, right? And you know, just put your point in between two numbers on the number line, two whole numbers, that is, wherever that fraction is. So this time, though, the y-intercept is 2, which we already knew that, actually, from our slope-intercept form, right? And right there, and there's the line. And it is the same line. Our scale is a little smaller this time because I had to make the scale smaller to get all the way to 6. But we see we have the same line with all three methods. And you can use any of those, really. We usually use putting it in slope-intercept form, and then that is right here, and then using that slope and intercept to graph them. But you can see these other methods are pretty easy as well. I just like to look at graphing because you'll be doing graphing later on, and seems like in middle school, with all the COVID and everything, you guys kind of didn't do as much graphing as you normally would. So that's it for the board work for today.